How's it going, ladies and Bruce? I'm Bob from Sixkilla and welcome back to Sekimeiya. We are in Chapter 3 now. We're running through Chapter 3 very quickly, and we're currently locked up. I think we've just escaped, actually, from the bedroom upstairs that Sai locked us in. Let's get into it, shall we? I hear this chapter's pretty short, so we can have this done pretty quickly. Ah, what the fuck? But a new voice came. That time it came from the room I was in, and I recognized it. I lifted my head without thinking and saw Sai standing in the middle of the bedroom. As soon as he saw me, he dashed toward the door, but I rapidly stood up as I grabbed the knife next to me. Hey, chill with that. He stepped back while I tried to understand what was happening. Did I really travel to this goddamn bedroom? That's just unfortunate. What's with that look? You're still here? How long's it been? I guess I just trapped myself. I cleared my throat, feeling unable to speak. Did you just travel from the future? Yeah, maybe. How long you been here? I looked at his wristwatch, but the display was still blank. Do you have the key? The key? No. Answer my question. How long has it been since I left? I don't know, maybe half an hour. Show me what you have. I approached him slowly, staying at a distance that prevented him from grabbing the knife. If he still had the key, he'd snatched from my purse. I had to leave immediately. Don't you get that it's impossible I still have the key? It's what you said a while ago. I disappeared in the middle of this bedroom, looking at the door. Obviously that coordinate was from the time you were in front of the door, pointing the knife at me. At that point, I didn't have the key yet. Just show me your pockets. Sure, I can do that. Start with your hip pack. My hip pack? Of course. He unzipped it. Inside I noticed a key that he hadn't had in the past. Hey, it's not for this bedroom. He handed it to me. This is for the bathrooms, right? Did you kill Katai? I wouldn't do that to him. It would be like punching a kid for getting into the cookies. I don't know better. Any better. Anyway, let's continue. I left the bathroom key on the drawer stand. Then Sai placed a hand on the right pocket of his pants and highlighted the outline of the key. Following, he took it out. It was the key to the Sekimeiya cabinet. He kept it and continued by putting his hands in his left pocket. No, stop. Huh? Show me everything you have in the other pocket. What? I just showed what I had. Do it. He put his hand inside the right pocket and brought out another key. Oh shit. Isn't this the key to this very bedroom? Give it to me. Fucking Artsky. How did he get me with this? I left the key on the drawer stand and looked at Sai sternly. That is the other key to the other bedroom. Oh right, because they're different. Take your hand out of the pocket. Huh? Turn it inside out. Hesitantly he did so. One last key remained inside. What the fuck? What were those doing in my pocket? So he had the key because he touched the Sekimeiya with it. Just like how I appeared here with the knife because I had it when I travelled. Atsuki and I were definitely wrong. Give me the key. I can't expect you to give you anything when you're pointing it at me with a scary knife. That's exactly why we expected you to give it to us. What? I'm not approaching you to give you anything. Then just throw it. I've had too many awkward moments trying to do that. Sai, throw me the key. Alright, we'll do the following. He turned around and began to quickly climb up the ladder. What are you doing? Come down. I didn't have time to consider following him. Seconds after he disappeared from view, he jumped back down to where I was. He extended both his hands, they were empty. This is how I'm giving you the key. I left it up there so you can obtain it without me getting close to the proximity of the knife. What? No, go get it. I say we just stab him. I would fucking stab him. Well, that's not happening. In fact, last time when he was fucking with us and lying on the bed, I would have stabbed him then. What are you trying to do? Do you still have it and want me to go up so you can leave? No, not at all, I'm not like that. I can show you my pockets if you want. He showed the contents of all his pockets, and except for a single key, they were identical to the time we'd shown all our possessions. Yeah, I also have the attic key, but I guess that doesn't matter much to you. Are you happy now? You think I might have it in my hair? It's pretty messy today. Maybe one of my shoes. Don't worry, I left it up top. He kept clearing places where he might have hidden the key on himself until I was forced to accept that he didn't have it anymore. Anywhere else? What's he doing? Could he have hidden it somewhere in this section of the bedroom and I didn't realise? Wait, in that corner? No problem. He approached the empty corner of the room and leaned back with a carefree face. I glanced all around, thinking about whether he could have left the key anywhere before climbing up the ladder. I knew I hadn't seen anything, but I couldn't trust it. Indecisive, I looked through the very few places I could think of where a key could have been hidden. The bed, the wardrobe, the drawers. I didn't find it anywhere, as it was impossible he'd hidden it to begin with. What are you even searching for? I just left it there, below the bed. Then go get it. I don't want to. I walked to him slowly, running out of breath. Well, what's that with that face? You wouldn't be thinking of killing me in front of those cameras, and I'm just trying to give you a key, would you? Why don't you go up first and then I follow you? I'm way too tired to climb that ladder again. He wants me to go up so that he can leave me behind again. How though? You should believe me, if you hurry up you might be fast enough to save him. What? I came from the future, remember? I'm not exactly sure how far back I went, but it's possible Atsuki hasn't died yet. You're lying. Me? I haven't lied all day. No, you are. Am I? Are you sure? I just found him dead. I don't even know what happened to him. I guess it must have been Akira. No, it didn't matter that he could have been lying, or that it was unlikely the past could have been changed. Before I could keep thinking, I was hastily climbing the ladder. I crouched next to the bed and looked under it. It was dark, so I had to wait for my vision to adjust. Bye! God, you're so dumb, man. Should have stabbed him. Oh well. There's no way. I didn't react, I just kept looking at the floor, where there was nothing. I crawled back out and stood up, unable to raise my head. I glanced down through the hatch and saw the empty bedroom with the door closed. He was lying. He had to have been. I couldn't move. I didn't know what had happened, but all my energy was directed at denying what Sai had said. God, so fucking stupid. Once I got back down, I walked to the door and saw that nothing about it had changed. I still had nowhere to open it. I didn't knock on the door or yell, I just sat down staring at my lap. I kept everything. It kept happening. Every time I thought I couldn't feel any more miserable, I did. Man, if you stop being stupid all the time, you might feel better. During the minutes I sat paralyzed on the floor, I didn't perceive any sound. Once again, I was alone in the attic. And so I began to think that perhaps I didn't want to leave. If what waited for me outside was what I'd been told, it was better to stay inside. Fortunately, that thought was what let me snap out of it. No, I need to leave. Was Sai able to leave without the key? There's no way, right? He was just able to hide that he had it. I stood up and tried to think rationally. There was nothing about that. Nothing around that indicated what he'd done. There was nothing under the bed, so he was just lying about having left the key there. He only wanted me to go up so he could lock me in again. The key I left on the stand was still there. I knew it wasn't the right one, but I tried to use it anyway. The door didn't unlock. I did all I could to dispel the fog in my mind and think about what had happened. I had to leave urgently, and if there was a way out I had to find it. I went up to the second level and looked below the bed again. Without a doubt, there was nothing there. He closed the door when he left, so he definitely opened it and left through it. Is it possible that he opened it without the key? That shouldn't be it. The way he could have left the bedroom the very first time, by opening the door, going to the past and unlocking it, that shouldn't have been possible either because there was no handle to open it from the inside, even if it had been unlocked from the outside. Is it possible he approached the door, saw it open, travelled to the past and opened it from the outside to let himself leave? Could he have known enough about the Sekimeiya to pull that off? If so, I might have been able to do it myself. I climbed down and stared at the door. It wasn't opening. Is that not possible? It hadn't worked for Atsuki when he tried it. Maybe it really would never occur. I tried to think more about it. How could I open the door? For even longer I stood still, mustering all my mental strength left to figure out how to escape. How had Sai done it? Had he used the key? If so, how? Wait, did I let him do this? This is it. There's no way it's not. As soon as I thought back on one thing, the way Sai had escaped appeared in my head. And he appeared in the middle of the bedroom. Of course he had even said it. That location belonged to the time I'd been blocking his path to the door. That's how he escaped the first time. At that point, the key to the bedroom was already in his pocket, which is why he'd had it when he appeared from the future. Atsuki said it too, but he must have grabbed it when he'd been chasing us. But for some reason, there was another key in the drawer. At some point, the key must have been duplicated. The time he snatched the key from my purse, it only felt like he unzipped it. That's all he did. He tricked me into thinking he'd grabbed the key, when in reality, he left with one he'd had from the beginning. Did he just set up the illusion that I was trapped? I looked at the desk. That was where I left my purse a while ago. And the only place in this bedroom I didn't search was my own purse, where he knew the other key must still remain. I approached it and looked inside. Of course the key was missing. He just wanted me to go up so he could grab the key from my purse. It's still unzipped. I looked at the hatch and dashed to the ladder. If I'm right, the other key must be somewhere here on the second level. He had just hid it better to once again make me think that I'm trapped. There weren't many places to look though. I frantically went through all of them in search of a very small key. As soon as I started unzipping the leftmost mattress, a metal key fell to the floor. I breathed deeply before picking it up and clambering down. I grabbed my purse, ran to the door and inserted the key. When I turned it, I was able to open the door. and I saw the walls of the hallway. I sped toward the living room while I stored the knife in my purse and took the attic key out. The most recent footprints, there were definitely size, which went to the staircase. I rapidly followed them down. You're alright. He's okay, Sai was just lying. Thank God. I panted, suddenly realizing that I was out of breath. Oh, she was actually inside. I'm glad we found you. What? He locked me in here. What? Me, that's funny. I locked you in, but the key's in the keyhole, right? Was he acting like he wanted to find me? He locked me in the bedroom. I'm sorry? I've been here for almost 2 hours. He shut me in. So he chose to stay in the attic and want to blame me for it? Why exactly? I couldn't look at Sai anymore. No matter whether he'd been the culprit behind everything, I hated him and the unquestionable malice behind his actions. However, 9 o'clock must have been very close, and creating more conflicts would only be a problem. I hate him too, if it makes you feel better. Are you okay? Yes, I just ran from the bedroom. I'm fine. You're saying I locked you in a bedroom? I'm not sure why I'd even do that. But how'd you leave? With the key. But I thought I trapped you there. Yes, but not with the key. I know what you did. I became a witch and learned magic, huh? You can go with that if you don't want to tell the truth. Wait, Edina. Huh? I suddenly processed what I was seeing without tunnel vision and saw Edina next to them, her clothing coated in dry blood. You're alive? Yes. I'm sorry if this sounds strange, but are you the same Shiroya who disappeared from the event room with Sai? Yes, I've been here since then. I see. We didn't check Edina's pulse, remember? Oh, thank God, and sorry. After thinking incorrectly for so long, I felt immensely relieved. Despite all that had happened, those of us who were still alive, including Edina, had to make it out. What's with the blood, though? I don't know, I got hit in the head, so my memories are a little fuzzy. Oh, what time is it? Yeah, it's 7:40. It's so late. What happened while I was here? And your watch is working again? Yeah, yeah, of course. Wait, what's with your clothes? You were wearing different ones. Right, when we went to the past, we lost track of that Shiroya, but she still has to be around. I'm confused though. Where did she come from? What? I waited for a response, but nobody gave one. Had the version of me that Atsuki had seen reappeared? Can you come with me for a second? Yeah. Can't you just talk openly here? Atsuki ignored him and brought me to the 5th floor. You know Sai's lying, right? He really locked me in the bedroom and told me you had died. I was so worried. What? Don't worry, I believe you. Even though I still don't understand Sai very much. I wanted to tell you about what just happened. I think the past can be changed somehow. It can? Did you try it? I did, but I'm not sure what to make of the results. Those few words made me drop everything I had assumed. After what we'd experienced, was it actually possible for us to undo what had already happened? It's possible that what I changed only affected some people. I definitely went back in time and altered the events I'd lived. However, while Sai recognizes the change, I'm not sure Edina does. It felt like both realities met, leading into different memories. That could be what happened to Akudo, when his vision of events contradicted ours. That could have been a result of a change someone made that didn't affect us, or maybe didn't affect Akudo. It sounds way too complicated, I'm not sure I follow. But you mean, if we go to the past, I'm pretty sure we could drastically change the way things played out. It's possible some people would still remember this reality, but the change should prevail. Even though two realities might have converged, the real one comes from my change. It overlapped the last one, despite some people potentially still remembering it. So then, we just have to want to change the past. Is that the only requirement? If we travel to the point Isla died, can we override her death? I'd long ago decided I wouldn't touch the Sekimeiya again, but the most fundamental reason had been that we concluded it wasn't possible to alter the past. I'd recalled my own selfishness, and how much I despised it. If we were able to undo what had happened, but chose not to, that was infinitely worse. Let's keep going. I last travelled from the staff room, let's go there. We walked all the way down. In the reality where we were, many people had died. Even if changing the past was doable, how much could we really deviate from it? It didn't matter. As long as we could prevent the suffering I'd felt for at least one person, we had to do it. We slowly reached the crystal floor. On the way down, I noticed that the smell that had been around all day was getting stronger. What's all this blood? It's mine. As you can see, I hit my hand in the elevator. I don't even know why blood stopped coming out. Does it hurt? There's a lot of it. Don't worry, not very much. We entered the staff room and I saw that a new locker was open. It's gone. Did you leave it in this locker? How? I found the key in the cleaning room. I know how that sounds, but I guess no key should have been needed to get it since I left the door open the last time I travelled. Oh, could anyone have taken it then? It would have been easy, but I'm not completely sure. The door was open like I'd left it, and it also could have teleported. While you're in the attic, we saw that happen. I definitely witnessed the Sekimeiya teleport to its cabinet. But Sai could have easily grabbed it. Akuto as well. I saw him, and he should still be here somewhere. It was before I changed the pass, but all I did was draw attention to hallway A. There's no way that was enough to override Akuto's existence. I hope. We went to the event room and saw the empty cabinet. Once more, we wanted to find the Sekimeiya that someone might have hidden. Since that morning, a recurring question had been why anyone would hide the Sekimeiya when it could easily be found. I thought of many possible answers, but if the past could be changed, it had always been a flawed question. Of course, if anyone was directing things toward a future they wanted, they wouldn't want anyone to deviate things on their own with the Sekimeiya. Like always, whether it teleported or someone hid it, it has to be nearby and in a place we can access. We can find it. Was that person Sai, who knew the most about the Sekimeiya? Had an unknown culprit really orchestrated everything behind the scenes? I couldn't believe how fast I changed my mind and how much I wanted to find the Sekimeiya. Was it possible that we could leave the tower in a world where I hadn't spent those 2 hours in that bedroom? I was taking Atsuki's word, but if we found the Sekimeiya, determining whether the past could be changed should have been simple. However, we had concluded before that it wasn't possible because it had already been attempted. Many indications seemed to imply it. I wanted to erase the painful hours we'd all spent in the tower. Yet, if that was possible, what if we could stay there for a whole month? There would be much more we could undo. The exit was near. In 2 hours, we were bound to learn about the future we'd be stuck with. Oh yeah, the Sekimeiya's gone. I've been searching for it before we went up. I'm sure you were. There's not much time left. Let's wait for the exit to open. What about the Sekimeiya? Who knows? I couldn't find it, but why do you care? Akuto might be responsible and he could have been able to bring it outside. If that happened, there's nothing we can do. However, if it's still inside, the police will find it immediately, right? It can be hidden from us, but not from them. Editor, do you know where the Sekimeiya might be? What? No, I don't. Okay, none of us do. If it was deliberately hidden, I don't see the point in searching for it anymore. You know where it is, right? He must be the one who's been taking it all this time, and he's definitely had a reason. He doesn't want us to search for it so he can keep it where he has it. You're free to enlighten me. If I knew where it was, what would my goal be? To hope the police don't find it? There's no way that would happen. Hiding it doesn't serve any purpose. However, someone took it away when we weren't around. That must mean that they had the means to keep it out of ours and the police's sights, otherwise hiding it is pointless. Of course, that's only assuming the past can't be changed. With how much Sai's proven to know about the Sekimeiya, there's no way he's not aware of whether it can or not. You say that, but it's been happening since this morning, and it was never hidden in a place the police wouldn't have looked in. You could have a plan too. When the police enter, as soon as they find the Sekimeiya, they'll activate it. They'll make everyone around it disappear, leaving a free road for you to retrieve it. Are you even listening to yourself? You think I want to steal the Sekimeiya? Sure, I wouldn't refuse it, but no way that would work. First of all, they'd simply appear in the past. If many people travel, the chaos would prevent any kind of plan like that from succeeding. However, some people must know about what the Sekimeiya is capable of. No way they just send police to grab it, knowing what touching it would do. I think I agree with them. That wouldn't work. Hiding the Sekimeiya is pointless. That's a fact. Incidentally, there's no place the police would ignore. What that means is that if the Sekimeiya is here, there's no reason to search for it. What I find most likely is that it's already outside them. Alright, I agree, so let's just wait. I frowned as I looked at him, but he avoided meeting my eyes and glanced back at Sai instead. Perfect. We've had enough headaches, so let's go to the lobby. Is this a bluff to waste time? If we want to go to the past, we want the Sekimeiya to spend a while out of the cabinet, which we accomplish by doing what Sai wants for a while. Then we can just find it. Just like we have every time we've extensively looked for it. Atsuki whispered to me. Is the knife lost then? I shook my head and showed him my purse still unzipped. Did you get it from Sai after you two appeared to me? No, I still don't understand it either. Both of us appeared in the attic, and I already had it. I'd forgotten to mention it, but yeah, that goes against how we thought the Sekimeiya worked. Okay, let's sit around and wait. I'm very tired and just want to get out, so I hope nothing else happens. Whatever Shin or the culprit are up to is no concern of ours anymore. I have no idea what happened to Akuto, but I don't care. If he's behind this whole mess, he'll face the consequences. Exactly 1 hour and 10 minutes. That's all we have to get through to reclaim our freedom. There was no reason to humour Sai anymore. I didn't believe for a second he wasn't lying. We sat on the left of the shutter without saying a word. He had needed to leave the bedroom to finish up his part of the plan. He had admitted that himself. So there was no way he simply wanted to leave while unaware of the Sekimeiya's whereabouts. It can't be he's not the same Sai, right? No. Even though his watch is working, he definitely knows what happened in the bedroom. We waited for a long time. It was the ideal thing to do. If we're able to find the Sekimeiya, we would do it after it had gathered enough energy. If finding it wasn't possible, we were calmly going through the final stretch. If the recording had been real, then we would either not find the Sekimeiya, or changing the past would turn out impossible. However, I was convinced that it was fake. No matter why it existed, it couldn't have been legitimate. I spent some time going over all the possible outcomes. What if the Sekimeiya was in one of the temperature regulation cabinets, not gathering any heat? If changing the past was possible, that should have still been fine, as long as we go a short distance back, get it out of the cabinet, and progressively extend the distance travelled. Sounds like a hassle, but sure. Sai kept updating us with the time. We spent 25 minutes sitting down. Is it possible Sai's trying to trick us again? Probably. What if he knows what we want to do? If he does, he might have set his wristwatch back a while to make it seem like we have more time. Could he have anticipated things enough to also edit the computer's turn? The shutter could open at any moment. I stood up. Wait here, I'm going to the bathroom. I'd been needing to go for a while, and I had to before walking through the whole building. Couldn't decide there were 40 minutes left, but we couldn't trust that. Once I came back, we had to find the Sekimeiya. Oh, alright. Can't you wait? No, don't worry though. I won't go anywhere else. I knew he'd insist on stopping me, so I walked to hallway B door. I entered the left door. Huh? I jumped instantly, feeling my back burn. The tank was burning. I knew what that had to mean. I gripped it with both hands and lifted it up. The Sekimeiya was on top of a pipe. Touching the side I leaned on. It was well balanced, positioned so that it didn't fall into the water. How hot does it have to be for the heat to reach the other side? And I still feel the burn. But here it is, and it's working for sure. The past could be changed. Were those words true? If so, I knew I could go back really far. Should I tell them? Was it even Sai who left it here? He knew where I was going. Atsuki wanted to find the Sekimeiya and change the past. If I told him, I knew he would activate it. However, I wasn't sure I wanted that. He wanted to erase the deaths we'd experienced, but that wouldn't occur if he changed the past. He would still remember them. And how would it even work? Would he be stuck in a world with another self of his? If he went to the past and changed things, he would end up personally suffering for it, and would remember everything. If I did, on the other hand, he wouldn't. We didn't know where Akuto was, but he or Sai must have been the culprit behind everything. If I wanted to tell them that I'd found the Sekimeiya, it was very possible Sai would purposely always stay in range. If that happened, he could prevent the changes he wanted. And ultimately, it was a fact that they'd all said they'd talked to a self of mine I wasn't aware of. But they'd end up being myself, despite me being sure that it couldn't be the case. If so, then I wouldn't be able to change the past. I was in the reality where the other self of mine had appeared. I hovered my hand over the gem and felt the imposing heat around it, repelling me. I realised I couldn't breathe properly due to the strange smell from all day. It was at its greatest intensity yet, reaching oppressive levels. It's coming from the Sekimeiya, obviously. With my left hand under the coat, I lifted the Sekimeiya out of the tank. Its heat was burning me through the cloth, but I resisted the intense pain. This is the last chance we have to save anyone. Maybe saving Mia is impossible, but I have to reach the possibility to erase Edina's pain or even Katai's. If that works, nothing should be undoable, and then I can tell Atsuki what I've done and work together with him to save Mia. I still knew he wanted to change the past, and maybe he didn't want to get rid of the memories he had. Who was I to decide that by myself? But I couldn't hesitate. If I chose not to activate the Sekimeiya, I might not have been able to live with myself. I couldn't accept acting only in my own self-interest. I lowered my right hand slowly toward the harmless-looking gem. I shut my eyes and gritted my teeth in pain, pushing through the burning aura until I made contact with the Sekimeiya. How far back are we going then? Ages, I assume. At that point, Shiroya disappeared from the bathroom. She also disappeared from the crystal floor, and from Ashiya Tower. She went much farther through time than she had expected. The oblivious people who remained in the lobby would soon realize that something had happened and would search for the missing Shiroya through all 7 floors. And that's the end, is it? End of the chapter? Dude, that's crazy. So that's how Mia came back. She saved her. Right? What? Where is this? I felt my body lying on a cold stone. I opened my eyes, but I couldn't see a thing. Is this still the tower? I tried to stand up, but my whole body hurt. When I moved, I realized I was wearing different clothes under my coat, and that the air was much colder. What? I suddenly felt a throbbing pain in my head that stopped all my movements. It wasn't only my head, there wasn't a single part of my body that didn't hurt. I stayed still, hoping the unbearable headache would fade away. In the meantime, my vision began to adjust a little. I couldn't see light anywhere, but I was still able to make out the space around me. Is this after the explosion and we've fallen into the hole under the building? Is this underground? That was all I could really tell, but when I looked up, I understood where I was. The ceiling is broken, and there's a bit of light. That's where I fell from. I was in some kind of channel, directly below the gem shop we'd gone to that day. Bewildered, I tried to think. However, an immense headache was still numbing my mind. Did I appear here? From the tower? I didn't think that was it. I remembered having travelled from the bathroom on the crystal floor, but something was amiss. Every time I travelled through time, I'd instantly appeared somewhere. That time, though, I'd woken up on the ground and my whole body hurt. Had there been something in between them? It felt like there had to have been, but my mind was too foggy to know. Where am I? How far back did I go? Under the thick brown coat I usually wore, I identified the clothes I was in. They were the ones I'd woken up with in the hospital, the ones I'd worn the day Mia died. I kept trying to push my mind for an answer, but I had no idea what had happened. When I finally collected myself somewhat, I noticed that I had my purse around my shoulder. I unzipped it and felt the interior with my hand. The knife isn't here. Why did I not travel with it this time? Wait, this... I retracted my hand, gripping a familiar object. After fiddling with it, a rectangular light appeared in front of me. It was my phone. The time displayed was 9:10, but I only wanted to look at the date. I navigated over to the settings menu to access the current day. Then I stared at the screen, reading the date over and over. November 30th. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. November 30th? Did I go 15 days to the past? 9:10. That day, at that time, I was already in a coma. I'd fallen from the ceiling up there and woken up in a hospital room days later. I looked around me, but I didn't see anyone else. If that's where I am, my old body had already been taken to the hospital? But why does my whole body hurt? This has never happened before. My mind felt really clouded. After touching the Sekimeiya, I'd woken up in that sewer. I hadn't instantly appeared there, so I didn't fully understand what had happened. Could I have overwritten my past self since I touched the Sekimeiya, or waiting to change the past? I tried to stand up, but a sudden, piercing headache made me collapse to the ground. My cheek hit the cold stone again, and the faint light slowly vanished. I wanted to move, but none of my muscles responded. My entire body was sore, like I'd received countless punches. Even the scarce willpower to reopen my eyes left me, as if I'd exhausted all my energy in an instant. My senses dulled, the world darkened, my coat tightly enveloped me, and then it was gone. The cold and pain disappeared too, leaving me floating in the middle of nowhere. There was no sound. I was conscious, but I didn't know where I was or why I was there. My awareness became a single, thin stream devoid of thought. The stressful events of the tower disappeared, and the tension I'd been holding in for the previous weeks vanished. A great sense of relief washed over me. I was on the ground in an underground tunnel. That fleeting notion sparked into my brain multiple times, but it was never enough to disrupt the silence. The world was consumed by my growing existence until eventually, I was the only thing in it. Perhaps it had always been like that. For longer than time itself, I drifted aimlessly. Who was I? I was surprised to feel curious about that question, but nothingness had become the only thing I knew, so the tiniest vestige of uncertainty was enough to bring me into disarray. A distant figure began to take shape in the darkness, and it grew until I became one with it. That's me. And there's Atsuki. Not from now, but from when we were still children, laughing, playing, having fun. Hey Shiroya, check this out. He handed me a small flower with dark purple petals, contrasting with the white world surrounding us. So pretty, I'm sure Danny would love it. I gingerly placed the flower on the stuffed tiger's head, and then held it up to my face. Wow, it looks so good on you, doesn't it? Without missing a beat, the boy in front of me spoke up. I'm sure it would look nicer on you. He took the flower off the toy and began fidgeting with my shirt. When he was done, I couldn't help but smile. Seamlessly, the world changed. We were riding on our bikes down the streets of Yushibana, and then we were drinking hot chocolate after playing in the snow. One after another, fond memories played in my vision, and once again, I became a child. I wasn't just experiencing memories, I also created new scenarios. We'd always wanted to hang out in the big cities, and that had become possible. The innocent pleasure dimmed softly as the world faded back to nothing. I couldn't object or resist, as if I was a baby on the verge of awareness. After an eternity, my mind reawakened. Another figure appeared far in the distance. Mia. I liked her as a friend, but when did it get so complicated? She was gone, but even when she was alive, things didn't feel completely right. Myriad moments before her death flowed into my mind. We were smiling and laughing in all of them, but as I watched us from above, I just wondered if she ever actually considered me a friend. We'd spent time together, but I wasn't sure what it had been. She joined our little world and warped it to something different, not better, not worse, just different. And her departure made it very different once again. We had access to a time travel device. We had no idea how it worked, but could we use it to rescue her? Did I even want to rescue her? Of course I did. Anything to bring us back to a sense of normal. Anything to bring back the happier days. Were the days with Mia better than the days without? Yes, but why? Why was it all so messy? My existence folded in on itself, a momentary jolt, a sense of disorientation, running around in the darkness. Was the Sekimeiya a blessing or a curse? An object that reworked the flow of time? An object that kept us confined in the past? My senses dulled again. I kept drifting in the dark and gentle abyss, or maybe I wasn't drifting at all. I realized I didn't know anything. I felt a cold breeze as the darkness began to lift. Part of me wanted to stay there forever, wrapped in black. The sensation of possessing a body gradually came back to me. My limbs existed again. In an instant, I became acutely aware of the pain in my cheek. I was resting on a pebble. I looked around me, the faint light illuminating the sewer. My eyes were wet, almost as if I'd been crying. I'm still underground. What just happened? My head throbbed relentlessly while I came to terms with the realization that I'd fallen unconscious. After so long, I tried to move my arm and received a faint response. Right, I just travelled from the tower. It's November 30th. Again. I exhaled deeply, pulling myself together. That dream, if it could be called that, was almost like the coma I'd been in once already. A haze of half concepts. It was almost frightening how lost I'd gotten in it. I remembered fragments of it, but the question of whether I wanted to save Mia was still vividly present in my mind. Of course I want Mia to live. What kind of question is that? And what would Atsuki do without it? I rested for a bit longer, trying to drive off those intrusive thoughts until I was eventually able to sit up. I was still lost in the dark. So I pulled out my phone and looked at the time. It was 9:34. It's only been about 30 minutes. I laboriously stood up and took some mindless steps. I couldn't feel anything around me except the hard concrete. I suppose it wasn't a sewer that I was in, since it didn't really smell at all, but I had no idea what it was. Wait, what am I supposed to do now? Can I really change the past? What the hell is this? Did I appear 2 weeks in the past? But mere minutes too late to save Mia? It can't be, right? Why would I have gone back so far? Completely perplexed, I walked forward toward the darkness. It wasn't possible to reach the hole above me, so I had to hope I could walk out of there. After a few steps, I ran into a wall. The darkness should have been terrifying, but I wasn't scared. I needed to get out of there and hope that I could find out where I was. I flipped open my phone, but the light from the screen wasn't enough to illuminate the path ahead. After feeling the space, I knew there were 2 tunnels in front of me, one much larger than the other. I could only go through one, so I kept walking toward the one that seemed wide and dry. Alright, we need to wrap this one up here because we're out of time for today, and I don't know how much longer, because last time I kept going with the intention to see the ending, but I kept going for an hour and then we finished the chapter, so we'll wrap this one up here. Keep it nice and succinct at the 30-minute mark. We are out of the tower. We might be too late to save. We're definitely too late to save Mia, but I don't know. We guess we don't have access to the Sekimeiya either. We have to go back to the tower to get it. So that's going to be a pain in the hole if she wants to go back and save her. You have to actually redo her dying, take Atsuki back to the tower, get locked in, find the Sekimeiya, come back again. Well, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Thanks again, Alfie, and I'll see you in the next one.